Hey guys and girls on Ask Japanese, it's Cathy Cat. Now this year, let's be honest, has been a bit of a train crash. There's so many terrible news every day and it is a year that has affected all of us. Now, today we would like to talk about some stories that are actually good. So we're not going to indulge in all that negativity and that drama. Even though it might just give us more clicks, right now we want to tell you some stories that make you feel good. So let's go and find out what they are. Number 1, The Hero and the Pirate. Now, what is Japan loved for? Yes, anime and manga. And actually right now, Demon Slayer has been sold over 10 million times. Kimetsu no Yaiba, that's one of the big ones. But one that has sold the absolute most, actually, with 470 million and rising, is One Piece. And this story is about One Piece and one particular fan. If you own a Japanese copy of the manga, you'll actually be able to check it yourself. Maybe even in some translations it's in as well. So if you look at manga One Piece number 23 and number 77, you can follow this story. And the story is there was one fan who sent a postcard with one of their drawings off to Mr. Oda, the maker of One Piece. He was just in school, he drew his favorite character, and that one is published in number 23. So in 2004, he sent that picture in and it got printed in the actual One Piece manga. And then finally, in the 77th volume of the manga, released in 2015, the story of that one particular picture got revealed. So, the teenage fan sent that postcard in. He was so inspired by One Piece. He loved One Piece so much that he decided afterwards, within those 11 years, to go to art university. He studied hard, he worked hard, he drew. In 2007, his very first manga had its debut in Japan. It was a special issue of Shonen Jump. And then in 2008, he released a manga called My Hero. Some of you might have already guessed it. Yes, it is Mr. Horikoshi, the maker of Boku no Hero Academia, My Hero Academia. Meaning, in these 11 years, he transitioned from fan to mangaka. His manga is now released right next to One Piece. They're standing shoulder to shoulder. And the origin of this story, they told each other at a Jump New Year's party, which means that's what's actually explained in manga number 77, saying how Mr. Oda and Mr. Horikoshi met at that party. Mr. Horikoshi told the story, revealed that he had been a fan for a long time, and he got inspired by his hero to become a mangaka himself. It's a very moving story, and you can see that within just 11 years, he transitioned from being a fan to being a pro mangaka. Dreams do come true. So we got a copy of One Piece number 23 to check if that is true. If you have the same one, maybe check it at home because you can check that one out too. Right at the back of it here, you can see a couple of fan illustrations. Usually fans send these ones in on postcards. And here on the top right, Mr. Horikoshi, that is the piece of artwork he sent in. And let's reveal the story here. 11 years later, the One Piece mangaka actually gave him a whole page to explain the story behind Boku no Hero Academia, how the postcard got sent to him when he was still a student, and now the artist actually became, Mr. Horikoshi actually became a proper mangaka. He's now a pro. His piece is getting released at the same time as One Piece is in the same magazine. They're standing now shoulder to shoulder and changing the shonen world. Little trivia here, the daughter of Mr. Oda, the maker of One Piece, said at the school bus all the other kids were singing the theme tune of Boku no Hero Academia, seeing how popular it was. She turned around to her dad and said, "Dad, is your manga gonna be okay?" NEXT! Number 2, unique ways to reduce suicide. Now, Japan unfortunately has up to 20,000 suicides a year, and it still, since 1998, keeps number 1 as being one of the G7 countries in which the most suicides occur. Now, Japan has tried to reduce this through different measures, and the numbers are sometimes going down, but there's one thing that has been surprisingly effective in the prevention of suicides in Japan, and that is Pokemon Go. Tojimbo in Fukui Prefecture is known as one of the most beautiful cliffs of Japan. Unfortunately, it's also known as one of the cliffs in Japan where quite a lot of people try to commit suicides. It's one of the suicide hotspots, unfortunately. So there are even signs out there asking people to please not commit suicide, and they have staff that patrols the area to help and see if anyone looks like they don't just want to go there for the nice view. So now, however, Pokemon Go has actually helped decline the rate of suicides on Tojimbo Cliff. And why do you think that is? Did they do a special campaign? Or did maybe Pikachu come and thunderbolt everyone away from the cliff to make sure they don't jump off it? No, actually, the Pokemon Go trainers have prevented the suicides by being there. Now, they are going, they're browsing around, they're looking for Pokemon, but they're also enjoying the view, the area, so more people are populating the area around the cliff. And because so many are there, even people that live in the area said there's trainers everywhere. Because so many are there, they're kind of stop people from committing suicide. You know, there's not a quiet moment on that cliff. It's very, very popular. People are enjoying the view. And some trainers are even there day and night, waiting for the right Pokemon to arrive. And that has discouraged people from actually using the cliff as a means of suicide. Hopefully, there's going to be more measurements in Japan to stop people from committing suicide. But it's interesting how a thing as simple as Pokemon Go has discouraged. There we go. But it's nice to know that a thing as simple as Pokemon Go has discouraged people from using the Tojimbo Cliff as a means of suicide. And hopefully more people will now have some time to actually enjoy the view from the cliff.
3, 2, 1, 0.
Number 3, the sadness of the peace pooper. Well, for a less serious, heartwarming topic, there's also the topic of a certain nature photographer who came up with a new vision for himself and Japan and nature. The story is around Mr. Izawa. Now, Mr. Izawa is a nature photographer. He took pictures of plants and even unpopular plants, usually small plants. Focusing on those little plants, he took some amazing pictures, has released books, and maybe that's how the director found out about him, through one of his artworks, his pictures. But so he started to be interested in nature when he was just a high school student, and he joined some events for protecting nature and his home ground, and his love for nature became quite deep. Some might say a little bit too deep, because then he came up with this other idea. Now, when he was just 24 years old, he became a naturalist, and so natural that he thought, well, animals poop in nature. Why should humans not be allowed to do this in nature? It's a great idea. So since 1974, he made a big deal out of doing his business in nature every time. Unfortunately, in between, he had an upset stomach and he couldn't keep up with his plan of always going into the woods. But then finally, in 2003, he reached his goal of 1,000 days of pooping in the wild. Congratulations. Congratulations. But his chain continues. In 2005, he had continuously pooped every time in nature. And then in 2008, he reached 3,000 days. Congratulations. What a great poop. And, well, this challenge kept going smoothly. But then, the unbelievable thing happened in 2013, on July 15th. Yes, someone has actually documented this. He had a sudden stomach ache on the train, and so he had to run out and use a public bathroom instead of nature. And he broke his chain. After being a legend for 13 years, he broke his chain. Now he's keeping his life works as a natural specialist pooper, finally. He has even released, yes, and published books around his natural pooping life. There's all kinds of things in which you apparently can get your stories published here in Japan. So he released that, but they also asked him what was the hardest part in his nature pooping story. And he said the hardest thing was divorcing his wife. Case number 4, the exclusive train station. 次は原宿です。Next up, Harajuku. Now you know Japan has one of the most amazing train systems in the world. There are around 574 different train lines all across Japan. Now, however, unfortunately, with the decrease of population and many people moving into the big cities, some of those train lines are struggling because less and less people are actually using them. Now, here is a story that I found super moving that I definitely need to tell you about. Now, in the northern part of Japan, in Hokkaido, there is a problem with one of their train lines. So, in 2016, Japan Railways did announce that 3 stations on the Sekiho line will be closed on March 25th. So JR made a plan that these stations, which are used by people, less than 10 people, they're not quite worth it economically wise. So yeah, it was their reason for closing those 3 stations. Now, those 3 stations were famous as the most unexplored stations. Less than 10 people were using them a day. And among them is Kami Shirataki Iki. And that station has a very particular story that links to one high school girl. Kami Shirataki Iki was actually only being used by one high school girl, and the train kept stopping just for her in the mornings and in the evenings to send her to school and bring her back. Usually, during the times when she is in school, the train would actually not stop at the station. So, for all the years of her school life, the train only stopped at her station to make it possible for her to go to school. And I find that is like the cutest thing from JR Railways, I'm sorry. And so that's why the station was actually closed on March 25th, because that was when she graduated from high school. So yeah, the whole train was always stopping for her to get her to school and back. Hold on. I just find this story like super moving and super nice. Hold on. And actually, the reason for the station closing in March also links to that high school girl's life. So think about it. The station closed on March 25th. Why do you think that is? Yes, it's related to her school life. She was a high school student and she used this train line every day to go to school and come back from school. So in 2016, that was the last year of her school life. What's more, that Kami Shirataki station has been used by only that girl for years. The train schedule of the train, therefore, was very unique. The train schedule also was very unique. The train would stop at her station twice a day, only twice a day. And the time stop was 7:04 in the morning and 5:08 in the evening. Why do you think that is? Exactly. Those are the times when the girl went to school and when she came back from school. So the whole station had been running exclusively for that one high school girl for years, all through her school years. And then when she graduated her school years in March, and therefore on March 25th was the last time the station was in use. JR had been running this station just for her, so she could go to school. And I find that story super moving and totally I might have cried a little bit about it. Because, they used the whole station just for her so she could make it to school. That's super nice. Stop it. So those were 4 stories that kind of are heartwarming, inspiring, kind of silly, and kind of moving in my opinion. I was supposed to bring you stories that make you smile, and I go and cry. Sorry about that, guys. Got a bit emotional here. I hope you enjoyed this video here coming out from Tokyo to you. I think the director and I got bitten like 9 times by insects, but it was worth coming out and walking a little bit around the streets of Tokyo. I hope you enjoyed this. If you like more stuff from Japan, don't forget, smash that subscribe button and tick the notification bell. And if you haven't already, please give us a like, because a like is a great way to just tell us, hey, thanks for putting all the effort into making a video. It's great seeing you. I hope I see you in the next video, and I'll catch you soon with Ask Japanese. Bye!